I'm the baddest. They can't whoop me.
On October 2nd, 1980, the legendary Muhammad Ali played one of his last fights against former teammate Larry Holmes. This fight made many Muhammad fans cry. Since Ali was not his own throughout the fight, he missed every blow that cops inflicted on him. He looked helpless. At this very time, on the other side of the planet, a younger athlete watched this fight. Looking at the TV screen where the battle was going on, he repeated over and over again, "I will avenge you." And that athlete was Mike Tyson. Hello friends, you are on the Old School Fighting channel, and today I will tell you one very amazing story from boxing, which you have no right not to hear. The story of how a fan avenged his idol, Mike Tyson's revenge for Muhammad Ali. Sit comfortably, because you will find an interesting video.
And down goes the former champion. He was there running the button.
Well, let's get started. Throughout his career, Muhammad Ali managed to lose by knockout only once. Few people found out what kind of boxer he was who was able to finish an invincible athlete at that time. And that boxer was Larry Holmes, whom I talked about at the beginning of this video. It was he who became the first and only boxer who finished the fight with him before the final gong. A similar beating ended in the 10th round, when the seconds decided to stop the fight on their own. Since it was painful to watch such a beating, Muhammad couldn't do anything. The destruction of the legend is what boxing experts called the fight.
That's it. They stopped the fight at TKO. It'll be scored as a
Parkinson. And now the friends will have information that only a few knew. Few people knew, but 3 months before this fight, Muhammad Ali underwent a medical examination, the conclusion of which for a long time no one had the right to disclose. The fact was that Ali was diagnosed with the very one he could not cope with, Parkinson's disease. By that time, Muhammad could not stand on one leg, could hardly touch the tip of his nose, and his speech became worse and worse. The organization of the Muhammad Ali vs. Larry Holmes fight was in jeopardy, but Ali acted like a real man. He notified the commission that he could go to the fight. And he also managed to persuade the team. And the history of his illness has so far decided to keep secret. Battle day. As soon as Muhammad entered the ring, he immediately began to shout these words to his opponent. "I am your teacher, I am your mentor, you owe everything to me." Making a conclusion, it could be said that Ali did not really treat this athlete. It was because of this that Muhammad agreed to go to battle. Everything was exactly for his health, he thought only about the fight. And even before this fight, Larry in an interview said not very good words about Ali.
Well, first of all, Howard, I feel that that's when he'll go. I don't feel the man can fight 9 rounds anymore, Howard. The man never fought in 9 rounds since the last Joe Frazier in Manila. And he haven't knocked nobody out since 1976. And how are you going to knock me out when I've been hit by the hardest punchers in the world of boxing today? Ernie Shavers floored me and got up and whooped him, stopped him.
It's a whoop Ali 5 years, 6 years ago.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I predict not only will Larry Holmes lose for the first time, but he'll be knocked out for the first time. I promise you, I'll knock out Larry Holmes. I mean, knock out. Now, most likely, it'll come somewhere after round 10 when he's usually tired.
And then the siren sounds about the beginning of the battle. For 10 rounds in a row, Muhammad's opponent beat him. Parkinson's disease was at an early stage, but despite this, it affected the endurance, and the reaction and speed of Muhammad Ali was also not in that fight. He could no longer flutter like a butterfly and sting like a bee. That's how magazines and newspapers wrote at the time. As a result, the coach of the legendary boxer makes a sensible decision. Of course, he watched his student being beaten for 10 rounds, so the coach stopped this fight to stop this horror.
That's it. They stopped the fight at TKO. It'll be scored as a technical knockout.
Barry! Get my purse!
This could have been the end of the video, but Mike "Iron" Tyson and his promise of Muhammad Ali suddenly appear.
I was gonna rip his heart out, I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander, he's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston, I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart, I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.
Mike Tyson knows for himself what a difficult childhood is. At the age of 13, he ended up in a juvenile colony, and it seemed that he would not be able to boast of anything serious in the future. But this is where Tyson's life changed. After all, in the penal colony, He met with the legendary Muhammad Ali, and this meeting forever changed his thinking and lifestyle. It was from that moment that he wanted to devote himself to boxing. When Mike was 14 years old, Coach Custamata immediately saw the potential of the great boxer. Then he adopted this boy, deciding to make him a great athlete. Cass was a good friend of Ali's, so there were times when Damata asked Muhammad to talk to Tyson. And the first conversation, by the way, took place after the very defeat of Muhammad Ali. Mike said the following to Ali: "Don't worry, champion, when I'm big, I'll get revenge and beat him for you." Tyson vs. Holmes, revenge. Time passed quickly and Tyson turned from a 14-year-old boy into a boxer who knocks out his opponents in the first round. And by the end of the 1980s, he already had the title of the best boxer, regardless of weight category. Cass Damata, alas, has already left this world. But he had a continuation in the person of the merciless Mike Tyson. And on the other side was the elderly Larry Holmes, who was on a series of 2 defeats in a row. The 38-year-old fighter was clearly not at the peak of his career, and how? Once Muhammad Ali was on the verge of ending his career, but Tyson remembers everything, including the promise he made to Muhammad Ali. And in January 1988, this fight finally took place, which would have ended the rivalry. Larry was too confident and thought Tyson was a weak boxer.
As far as this fight goes, is the way I left the last fight, the way they done me. They done me in, they did a number on me. And I don't like the way they done a number on me. So therefore, I'm fighting so that in a date that his body couldn't keep. His mind was saying, yeah, I can do it, but his body was not able to do it. So you cannot put me in that kind of category with Muhammad Ali, because it's a big difference between Muhammad Ali then at 38 and Larry Holmes now at 38 years old.
And now Tyson is already in the ring with belts on his waist and shoulders, ready for revenge. During the announcement of the fight, Muhammad Ali climbed into the ring, then he walked up to Mike and told him to break him for me, to which Tyson simply nodded his head. The beginning of the battle.
A 38-year-old Larry Holmes could not continue that round at the rack. Oh, a big right hand, and down goes. I'm definitely hurt. His legs are gone, and in comes Mike. There was a big right hand. Larry's nailed again. Down he goes. Nail with the right hand, the left hand. He's gonna hang on, or he'll stop the fight. Down he goes. Larry's hurt. It's all over. Right hand ends the career of the former champion of the world.
During this fight, Mike Tyson was able to knock Holmes down 3 times, and the 4th time he could not get up. Thus, Mike did what he promised Muhammad Ali.